Hey, real quick before we get started, we've uploaded all of our episodes of Moderately Played onto Spotify for podcasting, so there are audio only versions of them if you guys want to. So, all of the episodes, including this one, are on there right now. And however you decide to listen to this, I hope you guys enjoy.
All right, so we're back into another podcast, and today I am not alone yet again. Sadly, I have Hayden. The
Okay,
Eggman.
phew. That could have gone either way. That could have been our shortest guest ever.
But very happily, I have Mr. Dovale, Andrew Dovale. Those who have been in many other Bayonetta card games, I'm sure, have either seen your name, dreaded your name as far as being across from you, and of course, for all our Dragon Ball fans, obviously us who came from Dragon Ball, all of us came from Dragon Ball. Very happy to have you here. How's it going?
Thanks for having me, guys. It's a pleasure. Yeah, I'm excited. It's a cool little thing you guys are doing here. I saw the other episodes, so excited to, be a part of it, I guess.
I'm happy that you watched any of them. So
I haven't grilled, I haven't tested any of ours, but it's been really nice that that you've done that. So I appreciate it. Most of our other guests have kind of surprised us too, because we're just like, oh, we're just talking.
Yeah.
Who's this for? And but yeah, we do appreciate you doing both, being here and listening to the previous ones.
For sure.
Yeah, like the content.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Well, for knowing that, how about you introduce yourself as far as just obviously you and where you're from, anything else that you want to kind of talk about?
Yeah, so I'm Andrew, obviously, and I'm from Miami, South Florida card gamer, home of the best card gamers. East Coast, West Coast. Nah, just saying. But basically, I started playing card games when I was younger, way younger. Like I used to go to the library and play Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff like that. And then I kind of dropped off for a while, and I came back and I started playing. I think Magic around Origins, played for a little bit, and then came back again during Amonkhet, and then I started playing really competitively from there. Just playing drafts, going to PTQs and RPTQs and Grand Prix and stuff like that. Was really into limited with Magic on the constructed, but that's kind of where I took my foray. And then one day I just walked into the shop and I saw this Dragon Ball game. I'm like, wow, this looks really interesting, and it basically plays like Magic and stuff. And so I started playing and I just got hooked. And from there, that kind of catapulted my competitive mindset towards card games, and I just really enjoyed traveling and going and competing. It was super fun. Such a great community. Some of the best memories of my life during the Dragon Ball Masters when it was in its heyday was super fun. So many people I met, so many cool people. Met you guys, met all the community. We all kind of know each other now. Maybe not super intimately, but acquaintance, and we'll see each other. We'll be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, I'll see a name and I'll have a feeling attached to the name, whether it's good or bad, whatever. Yeah. I know who you are, though, right?
Exactly. So it's kind of cool, and we built a community, and now that's kind of expanded and transgressed and so on, and now it's more Bandai's got it more popular. There's more card games, but that's kind of how everything started, and that's really cool. Thankfully, that journey met a lot of cool teammates, a lot of cool friends, and I was able to finally reach I would say my goal or my peak in that game, which was to win Worlds, and I won two Nats back to back. Yeah, that was probably my favorite, my crowning achievement, So it's always nice to like look back on that. Hopefully I can get something like that again. I'm not quite done yet, but
okay, we can talk about that. I do. Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting to kind of have the it's weird because Dragon Ball came out 6 years ago. Masters came out 6 years ago.
7 years ago.
7 years ago.
Yeah. Jesus, I played the first year. Within that first year, and I still have friends and people I talk to because of the game, right? And it's just one of the greatest games. It's interesting that you've been playing Magic too, right? You're playing Magic before. I never knew that, and I feel I don't know about you, Hayden, but it's either that someone just kind of jumps into Dragon Ball and then plays Dragon Ball and then branches out to other games, or they came from Naruto. Not
Oh,
even Yu-Gi-Oh.
Naruto. Yeah.
Yeah, that
And
was a big one.
I'm surprised that you didn't play Naruto before that, actually.
No, that was kind of during my time. Like, so like I started playing like at 2021. I want to say like really competitively. I never really had the money. I was like pretty poor growing up, so I didn't have money for card games. Like I would just play like Yu-Gi-Oh with like the crappy decks. Like I wouldn't have any boosters. Like I would just be like, here's my like Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Yeah.
Get like
Two
super
decks.
destroyed. Yeah, I would get like
Yeah.
super destroyed by like all these like crazy decks that people had. But you know, I just always had it. I always had a passion for it. It was always fun for me. But yeah, no, Magic was the first one that like really hooked me. Like it was like, oh wow, like I'm really good at this. Like you know, once I got the hang of it, and I really enjoyed it.
Are you still playing Magic in any capacity right now, or no, not at all? Yeah.
No.
Okay.
It was like Magic was like this for me. It was just like never ending, and then at some point it just crashed. Like I got too angry at like just not drawing lands and like not having so many non-games. Just felt so like dysfunctional for me.
Yeah. Especially I didn't play a lot of Magic, but I had the same issue where I played Dragon Ball where anything can be a land, and then you go to Magic and you're like, why am I losing this game? Why can't it be the same? Like it just seems like a better system at that point. And it's I had the same issue where I'm like, well, I guess I just lose this game and it's not my fault. And you know, Dragon Ball would be a different story, I think.
Yeah. Where Dragon Ball is that when you lose, it is your fault no matter what.
Almost always, yeah.
They
saw 3 super combos. I saw 2 super combos. Whatever.
Yeah, that's interesting. Did anybody actually get you into Magic, or did you just like pick that up?
No. I kind of just like stumbled upon it. There was like a card shop that was like doing drafts. I was like, oh, like,
sure.
You know, like I saw Yu-Gi-Oh and I was like, oh, let me walk in, and they're like, oh, have you tried Magic? And I'm just like,
gotcha.
And I just like hopped into a draft, and I was like, wow, this is really cool.
Yeah.
So like I had you know touched briefly with the game, like with the Magic Online, but nothing really too crazy until that point.
Gotcha.
But yeah, like what you're saying, like Dragon Ball just like super hooked me because it was like I'm playing all this game that you know requires all this skill, all this back and forth, and all this like I got to use everything that I had, but I also knew that when I lost, it was my fault, and I could improve, and I could learn and get better. And I wasn't the best. Like it took me a while to get very good at the game. It wasn't years literally. Yeah. And then but like eventually it got there, and I was able to like be like, oh, it all come to fruition, you know, like all the hard work.
For sure.
Yeah, and I think I mean that's been translating to other card games too. And I know we kind of went through some of your accolades. These are the ones that I remember offhand because there's not like a Wikipedia that we can sneak a peek. But back-to-back North American champions for Dragon Ball for not this past year but the last 2 with the world champion 2 years ago. Which you have a Dragon Ball card with your name on it too, which I don't think besides an artist, I don't think any other person in the community has that.
Did they not give Phillips his name on it? I assume it does.
I think they're working on it or has revealed it. They
it hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, it was the yellow Bardock.
Someone has showed it to me. It looked really busted.
Yes,
I assume it'll have his name on it.
Like, but that hasn't been printed, right? I could be behind.
Probably not.
I think it's the next set.
All right, as of today, and then so there's that. I know for you've won a One Piece regional out in Florida, right? Or did you top?
Yeah. I won a Treasure Cup. And I got second at like one of the Gen Con ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then with UVS, I know have you won one of their? I know you've topped several of them.
Topped pretty much every one of the ones that I've been to, and I've got the last Worlds, which was like a few months ago. I got third.
Okay,
to the Worlds, and
which is just nuts.
Yeah,
I remember
that was a funny story.
Yeah,
like
you
I
rolled
literally,
up.
I had not like played the game, touched it at all, and I'm just like, I'll go play in the LCQ, and then just like crush people, and then played the same deck the next day. It just like, did super well.
Yeah.
I don't remember what deck you played, but it was similar to.
I played Overhaul.
Oh, you played Overhaul. Yeah, so
Overhaul's a busted leader.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like I went because I wanted to play that leader so bad. I'm like, I wish this leader existed when I was like playing last year. But I just played Kirishima back then, and I was just like, which was
because you wanted to win. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Of course. And then I'm like, wow, this character is even crazier than that character.
Yeah.
Like,
That was a fun time.
I had
And
a
then
good time.
there was Card Fest this year, which unfortunately means for you can only enter one tournament, right? So you went the BSS route and you got top 8, maybe better.
No, I had a top 16.
Top 16. Top 16.
I got knocked out. I think I got knocked out by the guy who got second, Colin.
Gotcha. Okay.
They had a really good deck.
Yeah,
I wasn't experienced enough in that game. I don't think I should have probably stuck to One Piece. I would like try to test my mettle, but then like the situation with the whole tournament came up, and I was kind of like, I guess maybe I made the right decision because like I definitely pocketed some money
for sure.
So it was like I don't know. It was kind of like the gamble, right?
Yeah, you're going against like 2,000 some people or whatever in One Piece.
Yeah, I mean,
BSS is
and there's a little bit more variation, I think, in One Piece compared to BSS.
Oh yeah,
there is.
So,
no, I right now I'm playing. So actually, I've been joking to everyone at the card shop that right now is like the renaissance of card games, because like there's so many card games that are like pretty good right now. Like Fusion World came out, which is obviously near and dear to our hearts, and we're all playing it, and it's fun. It's fantastic. You know, it's a breath of new life into that genre in that game. And I think it still holds true to the old one, and you know that's cool for the continuation of the series and bringing on new players, which I think is super cool.
Of course.
And then we have One Piece, which is still fine. Like not my favorite game right now, but still play it, and I think it's still like in a good spot. They support the game very well, and it's very popular. It's a very good game. Then we had Star Wars come out, which I've been playing a lot. And I think that game is great. For anybody who hasn't tried it, I suggest trying it.
It's like the game that I really want to get into, but I'm like every single time I want to get into it, I have to do 10 other things first. Like I want to do One Piece, I want to do Fusion World, I want to do all this other stuff, but I don't know.
And this was Brian and I we nearly stole demo decks at Gen Con for it because we were having such a good time.
But, it was fun.
It does have a lot of like mechanics that remind me of Dragon Ball Master, at least at its peak, right? A lot of decision making, and it's the best card game that I'm not making content for, I think, right now, because I just stretched too thin, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think it's for necessarily everybody, but I think everybody should give it a try because I think what they're doing, you know, what I enjoy about the game and what I've noticed nowadays on card games is like I feel like card games are trying to be necessarily too open. I don't know how to call it. Like they're trying to please too many people with it.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest success is if you take a look at like Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Pokemon, they're like very true to what they do and like unapologetic about it basically, and just saying like this is the product, it's designed for these people, and we don't care. Like I think the whole shift towards like from best of 3 to best of 1 sort of alienates, and like no sideboard, it alienates a lot of the, I'll say like Western audience, if you want to call it, because we're so used to that, you know, like coming from Magic, coming from these games where we're just used to playing best of 3s, used to sideboarding and stuff. It feels like we're playing without a limb, and that's how I feel sometimes. It feels like I'm really being pigeonholed into certain things, and I like that Star Wars just kind of say like, yeah, no, we're gonna build a TCG for like a Western audience, and if other people like it, we'll sell it globally or whatever. If other people like it, great. But we're not gonna like bend over, like try to make something that's very niche or like not niche, but like very like just like bland and broad and like I don't know, cliche almost. So I kind of like that they took that approach, and I've been having a lot of fun with the game. And I usually don't play any games that don't have any competitive, and that one doesn't have competitive right now, but it's been really, really fun. So I'm enjoying that one. And then there's Lorcana, which I'm like picking up sort of on the side because it's like starting its competitive play, and I think it's in a decent spot. You know, it's like a you know, one of those kind of die roll games, but it's fun, I guess. So we'll see. But there's so many options right now, and then there's obviously still Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, you know, Pokemon. Like they didn't like cease to exist either. So I kind of like a great time for card games, I think.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like a mosh pit, right? Like all of them have about the same player base that, I'll be honest, hasn't really grown a lot in the last couple of years, and so because of that,
you say mosh pit, I say cesspool.
All right.
So I'm just saying.
I don't know what the deodorant situation at your locals is, but whatever. But
depends on the day.
It depends on the day.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Arizona, Brian's in the desert. You're in Florida. I guess it depends on the season really. But
no, it's more so the community. I don't want to call anyone out.
No, okay. But you pull it on the list. All right, Steve, Jim, Phil. But yeah, I think there's a lot of card games, and as someone who even like this is not a brand deal at all, promise, but like Illustrials, I've been getting into that just because they sent me a box, and I'm like, you know what, I had nothing to do this Sunday, being able to sit down and just like learn what the rules are, and I think a lot of like maybe a couple of years ago, like in the 90s, everyone had their own system, and then kind of everyone's like, all right, the big three kind of are the ones that we want to revolve around, and but now they're kind of getting more creative again in resource, and because I used to be able to say, oh, Dragon Ball is just like, Magic, and then go from there, but like Digimon is its own thing. One Piece, is kind of like it, but it has its own unique twist, and then like yeah, Battle Spirits is pretty unique as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's a kind of a game for everyone, or at least one, like a game if you sort of just at least try to get into.
Yes.
But
And now to see if it will survive.
yeah, that's what was the other part I was gonna say. I was like, I don't know, and we've talked about this in the previous podcast. I don't know which card games are gonna survive in the next like 5 to 10 years, and I guess that's a good question for you, Andrew. So, what do you think?
I don't think it matters too much. I think it's fine. Okay, if you're in it for like collecting and for like investment and doing that, I don't think that's going to repeat itself. I don't think that there's going to be like as much long-term value held on cards as the Charizards and the
Yeah.
Black Lotuses of the world. I think those have like a certain like mystique and prestige and something that I'm not sure we're going to see replicated just because of they're kind of like at the top of the mountain, and on the top of the mountain they're like the holy grail, they're like the star, you get me?
Yeah.
So like because of that, they kind of like they're gonna always have that value, and that's just what it is.
Yeah.
I think if you try to like play games to try and just like, or not play games but collect games, or like try to like invest in all these things, I think you can make like profit obviously, but I'm not sure if you're gonna make like that long term like, yeah, my manga Luffy in like 40 years or something is gonna be like the craziest thing. I don't know if that's gonna be the case. But I do think that in the meantime, while we have these games, while they're fun to play, while we have these communities around us, I think just play what you enjoy and go and have fun and go to these events. And I still think the pricing is worth it, even if it's only for the short term or what have you. I mean, you can always keep it as a memorabilia if you'd like, but I think even if your own, your purpose is to go and maybe turn that to a collector, turn a, win an event for that reason, I think it's still a good enough reason to play the game. I don't think you should look at games from the lens of, will this game survive 10 years? I mean, will you be playing card games in 10 years? You don't even know that. Like 10 years is a long time, right? So I think you have to take a look at it for what it is at the moment,
So YOLO is what you're saying.
What? YOLO?
So we just YOLO. We YOLO.
Oh, YOLO.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, not necessarily YOLO, but I don't know.
I know what you mean. Enjoy the time and enjoy what we have right now, because obviously it's not guaranteed anything is going to stay around, or if you're going to be playing, just like you're saying.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I can see that. I do think like it's interesting how we got to the point where we're selling. I mean, I guess Charizard did the same thing too, but like the One Piece national championship, obviously Jonas, etc. We talked to him and how first place got sold for, I don't know, a ridiculous amount of money, or could
at least
be sold.
6 figures, whatever. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And we got to that point with Charizard during COVID, and we just kind of got to the point of like reselling and collectibles and things like that. I don't know, just like you were saying, if that's ever going to happen again.
I think the best approach to that is let the collectors worry about that. Like let them worry about the prices of the cards and stuff like that. If they're willing to pay 200, 300 grand for these cards, by all means. I've sold my prize cards for numbers that I thought were a little excessive myself.
Yes, of course.
I just, if that's what it's worth for you, then that's what I'll sell it to you.
Yeah.
Like I can't foresee it. Like I can't visualize it personally. But hey, man, if that's what it is, that's what it is.
For sure.
Props to them. I hope that they know what they're doing.
They got their own collector meta going on, I think.
Exactly. That's between them.
So...
Just a bunch of people got a bunch of Bitcoin money or something, and they're like, I guess I'll buy it for this amount. We're like, sure, done.
Deal.
Yeah.
For sure. We did go through most of your history, and kind of where you are right now. We did mention Digimon before we started, so how did that go? How much did you play Digimon
I
again?
played a lot of set one,
Mm.
and that's about it. I kind of like returned a little bit later when like what was that deck?
Lord Knight probably, or
No,
Metal Guru X.
no, it was hybrids. I
Oh,
think
okay. Blue Hybrid.
blue
Yeah,
hybrid,
Yeah.
and
set
it was
4.
the national format. I was helping
Yeah.
like Machado and the guys in the
Oh,
shop,
right, right.
and it was
Yeah.
security control. That's what it was.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Security
Yeah.
control, blue hybrid format.
Ice Age was at 4, or
Yes,
Ice Wall was at 4. Yeah, I
yeah,
hate that format.
and
Jeez.
the one tamer that the OP tamer.
Yeah, Tommy.
Oh,
Yeah,
Tommy,
you
there you
strip
go.
3, and then like
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
Love that.
that guy.
yeah.
That was interesting. That wasn't actually even that bad of a format. Now I look at the game and it was like, what the heck is going on right now?
There's a lot of stuff
That
going on. There's more keywords and stuff.
Like,
So
brother, what is this craziness?
yeah,
yeah, that's been a little bit of my issues, especially like when trying to commentate with like a webcam, and they have like the stack of 6 cards, and like half of them are obscured, and they're like doing stuff. I'm like, I think they have this card that when this happens, but compared to a lot of other Bandai card games, I feel like that's the one where it's harder to not accidentally cheat, because there's just so many, like autos when this happens that you have to keep track of, and they're like obscured. It's kind of gone off the rails just a little bit, just with, you do one attack and like 7 things happen, and you have to make sure that you remember all of them, and it's
yeah,
been
Yeah,
it's tricky.
it's actually I dare say it's reaching the complexity of masters almost.
Mhm.
Like you have to like really
yeah.
because there's no way you sit across from these decks and you don't know the effects. Like you
Yeah.
have to be like a rule book
You do.
of like
You do.
everything your opponent does, or else it's just like sure, you know,
Yeah.
like I guess your card does that
Mhm.
because there's just no way.
Yeah.
It's just too
Yeah,
much.
I agree with that 100%. Like it is very easy to play into your opponent's removal or under their card, so you have to pretty much know what their extension is at most times.
I mean, they are kind of getting the master treatment at this point. They're what, like 20 sets now, 20 something sets,
They're
Deep,
close.
right? They're
or
deep.
getting close to it. So like they have to design like more keywords. They have to design more archetypes and to make it fresh and to keep it interesting. And because of that's exactly what Masters happened. We got into the Yu-Gi-Oh text and we just kept getting archetypes and more.
Look,
new stuff
I will. I've said this, and I will always say this. I think the only reason that these like top games are still successful is because they rotate cards. Like
I
they,
was
they keep
that
the
was on my
games.
mind. I'm about to say, yeah.
They keep things fresh. I think there's no way that you can play a game 20, 30, 40 cents. It's just impossible to make cards that are of value that can power creep the next card that don't eventually just make the game unfun or unplayable or like not interesting anymore. They're just too good, you know.
Yeah. I don't know if it's for every game, but Digimon specifically, especially like how their system works and everything. Like there's only so many Agamons that you can print, right? Or that you can have in the same set. Like I think that game is of the Bandai card games that exist right now, the one that would be the best candidate.
for
Because
rotation.
because there's only like so many level 3s you can make that. Oh, it's a 3-drop 2K, right? Oh, crazy.
Yeah.
So that I think would help the game out. But also the fact that it's getting to Japanese format by this time next year is going to help out the game, I think, too.
Yeah, global release or simultaneous release, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, that's a big deal.
I think this is not a plug, but I think that's why UVS Universe is now rotating. So the first first one set of My Hero is now rotated out. So I think it's.
But they've always had that. I think they've always had a rotation.
Well, they had standard, but like
Yeah.
the Spotlight or My Hero format, you could play any set. But now My Hero is now rotated out, and the standard format is the tournament format now.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, they changed up the tournament format, so now
Yeah.
it's like all the games all together. Like
Yes.
of the newest
Yeah.
ones.
With rotation.
Starting with My Hero, yeah.
Yes, with rotation. So I do agree. I think rotation is such a taboo word in some card games because people just want to hold on to their stuff. But like realistically, a lot of cards just don't see you playing anyway. So like it doesn't matter if something is rotated or not.
So like the entire collection behind me. Yeah, it's
Yes.
No,
continuing getting dust.
I also think that it's just like okay to reprint cards. Like I
You
do
can do
think
that too.
that's fine. Like
Yeah.
Pokemon does it all the time. I mean, Ultra Ball or whatever, Professor's Research, like the basic
As in
cards.
you rotate, but you reprint cards from
So that way
past sets
they're
back
legal.
in.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you
Yes,
can
exactly.
still use the old copy of it if you want.
Yeah.
It's the same card, you get me? So like they always like
Mhm.
you don't have to buy the new one. You'd be like, yeah, I already have my like ultra rare, crazy ones. It's like, okay,
Yep.
yeah, you still use those.
Yep.
So it's like I don't see the problem with it. I think it takes a load off of like these developers who are just I mean, it's impossible. Like I already know Masters, they have no clue. Like I don't want to say no clue what they're doing, but there's no way that they're balancing the.
It's a Wild West, dude.
No, we've
Wild
been through
West.
it so many times. Like all of the Universe 2 cards from the draft box, they're like, hey, pretends these we never printed these. We're sorry. What are we thinking?
Yeah, like we just didn't see this interaction.
And what the double ban list where they made a ban list and then they had to make another one like a week later because everyone was so upset.
Yeah.
I can't blame them at a certain point. It's like bro, their card pool is like 10,000. I don't know how many cards. It's like
it's
you
nuts.
Just cannot possibly see.
It's nuts.
That's all of that.
Someone asked me, I was like, hey, what do you think about the new Gohan? I was like, which one, dude? Like, I was like, I knew there was like a red Gohan like 2 sets ago, I guess, and then there's a new Bardock and there's a new Gogeta and stuff. The last spoil that I really liked was the Gogeta, and I think in the current set. I don't know if you guys seen that one, but it reminds me of like older black decks, and it has like really good
that
archetype.
One. Yeah. See that.
It's a.
I actually wanted to replay Vegeks because all the cool black support.
Oh, yeah, someone got like top 4 in.
Yeah, I saw.
Or something. I was like, dude, okay. I might go to North Charlotte because I'm on the wait list for Fusion World, but I'm registered for Masters. I was like, Vegex is the play.
That deck's a blast.
Yeah, it's so fun.
So much fun playing that.
I took Vegex so many times to locals. I felt like you guys know the Sheen in what's that, Jimmy Neutron, the the
Ultra Lord.
This is the 50th time that you're showing that was literally it. Like I've gotten that meme at locals. It's like, dude, you're playing Vegex again. I was like, yeah, what do you want me to do? I don't want to play anything else.
Yeah,
but it's so funny. It's so funny. That does remind me, as far as, since we kind of talked about all the current card games, what do you think the future is for Dragon Ball and One Piece? Starting with, I guess, Masters. I know we talked a little bit about it, but just overall,
I think Masters is in a tough spot. I don't know. Like, I don't think it's gonna die or anything like that, but I think it's just gonna suffer because I don't know how. Like, I do think players from Masters going to Fusion World is a lot more likely than players going from Fusion World to Masters. I just think that's it's inevitable. Like, it's two different worlds. And I think that like the brand new shiny thing is probably gonna like siphon too much of the player base or too much of the resources. I don't want to doom bring or anything like that, but I do think over time it will hurt the game. So we'll see. As of right now, I'm not even playing Masters like that. Like I just don't have the
bandwidth.
Same, not bandwidth, but like just I haven't kept up with it. I would have to catch up again, and I just don't have the same interest in the game anymore. I the last time I played the game felt very it was a little much even for me. Like I played and I was playing like my deck and I was playing against what was this deck? I think it got like neutered now, but the one that won Worlds actually the Tapper deck.
Android 21
Android 21
and I was playing like my blue deck and I just like, man, this is like really unfun. Like
specifically against blue against that deck. They get blue extra.
Like, I don't know. I think it was a little much. If a new player plays against this deck, there's just no shot they're going to enjoy themselves. It does too many things that make you feel bad, and I think that's another problem. Like the game has gotten to a point where like the interactions are just a little too complex, and I just don't foresee them increasing the player base. So I think it's going to be what's there right now. And as long as that keeps it strong and alive, then I think it'll continue going. But I just don't see it increasing in popularity or anything.
And real quick too, you probably saw this. There was a rule change that happened a couple weeks ago too, where it has the energy marker now and the Z-Dex. Do you think that's a good move, bad move? What's your?
I think that helps. I think that helps. I mean, I think the biggest problem with the game was that one of the things is going first versus going second. And I think it's the energy marker is a lot worse. And like, I think it's bad in Fusion World. It's almost too good to go second in Fusion World. I think it balances it really well in Masters because I do think that like going second is a very severe disadvantage in that game.
Agreed.
But I think they have other problems. I think the rules complexity is a little high. Secret rares are a little bit too much in my opinion nowadays. Like before, they used to be cool. Like here's my card that like does a lot. Now it's like here's my card that if I don't draw, I have no chance of winning the game.
Yeah.
Or
like,
if you draw it, then it's
if you draw it, then
like if it had just unanswerable, like just entirely too good cards.
Yeah,
So,
which is why like Android 21 could find theirs. It was searchable off top 5,
Yeah,
so like it was too easy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they had a fairly tame one compared to some of these that are now like you know, there's the cooler one, ends the game on the spot. Gogeta one, some decks can't even like beat. That card hits the board, their game ends. Like the what is it? The Beast Gohan is also nasty. Like there's so many really good ones that it's just like which you don't even at a certain point it becomes a problem because you don't even know which one of your opponent's playing. And if you play into the wrong one, the game like that's it. You're shot. You're done.
Yeah, like, and then like that's like the other thing. I like having like games being information based, but like if your matchup's worse because your buddy told your friend that you're playing this secret rare instead of the other one, like that's just like so like metagaming stuff. So and we're used to now like One Piece and Fusion World where secret rares are less rare, but they're also you can run 4 copies of it, so it's not as swingy, which is I think probably the better way to do it.
Yeah, I like the flavor of it, but in practice, it's not good for competitive play.
Sure.
And it is a price tag on the game, which I also think hurts. It's like buying into the game. It's like, oh yeah, you just also need to buy this $300 card. Like what?
Which is good for this deck and this format.
Good for this one deck.
And then like in 2 weeks, it's like $50 again. So
yeah,
it's
like a weird.
I agree.
Yeah, it's a real feels bad. But yeah.
I do try to pay attention to like pricing and things like that for any card games, right? A lot of the time back in the day, I like to, especially making content, I like to look at TCG Player for Masters cards, where like if a event is coming up, you can generally tell what people are playing based on the pricing. So if like something got bought out or something went up or whatever, generally means that either people are manipulating it or going to be playing it for the event. And it's kind of like the opposite for Masters now, where like it literally doesn't matter. The only thing that really has value are the God rares, and as well as some of the secret rares, just like you were saying, right? And I think even I don't know if you guys saw the post on Facebook, whether it's real or not, but like Cool Stuff Inc. is dropping the game completely as far as new product goes, and I'm going to pay attention to that as far as throughout the year of like how many people are going to be doing that, if my local store is going to be doing that, etc. And
not today. We're recording this on April Fool's, so that could be.
This is recording on April Fool's. So any of these posts could be a lie.
Yes, they
but
could be.
It is still something I'll be monitoring throughout the year.
They also dropped like the most busted One Piece leader I've ever seen. So
not a lie.
Not a lie though. That I wish it was.
It doesn't look like a lie.
That one's
really bad for the game, but whatever.
Yes,
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
You know what? That's the leader we needed to get Big Mom banned.
Yeah, exactly. If this is the final stone, right? Sure, fine.
We'll see about that.
I actually think the other leader is more busted though. The one that they were
Marco.
No, the King leader.
Oh, King leader. Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
that guy's pretty disgusting.
I don't know what they're doing. What are they doing with that set? We'll talk about it. Okay, we'll talk.
I think it's the funniest thing.
I think it's like a repeat of OP4, like pretty much. Like they're all multicolored, right? Or no.
One is mono green.
Which is why no one's talking about it.
Yeah. But it's super funny. Yeah, we have all these leaders, and then there's like Chopper. He's like, "Hey, I'm here. What's going on?"
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
That'll be like the next big power spike in the game. I can already see it.
I think so too. And it's getting worse every time I see a preview. I think so Fusion World, right? So Fusion World, that's what I want to talk about. I know Masters. One more thing about Masters. I personally think, this is my personal opinion, not anybody else's. I personally think that this year is the year that, since Fusion World came out, they want to gauge sales and as well as how people are reacting to Fusion World from Masters, right? Some people might be dropping it for Fusion World, etc., etc., and then by the end of the year, they'll kind of review what Masters looks like and then make a decision, basically. Because they did say they will support it throughout the end of the year, but that doesn't mean the next year is guaranteed. So we will see. It will be a sad time if so.
I would also say that the Japanese fiscal year starts on April 1st. So if anything was going to get gutted, it probably would have been announced in this week or so. I think so.
Yeah.
I think everything's safe for right now, but surely having 6 card games is not a
Awesome.
long-term,
Not
gain,
great.
right?
No.
Right.
Yes.
Who knows, man? I mean, I think they've been making so much money off of it. They should just keep expanding it. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's certainly done well for them. They've only kept releasing them. So
Yes.
clearly something is working there.
Correct.
So.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's very cheap to print cardboard. So, yeah, Fusion World. So, we've been playing the digital client. We've been streaming it. I've been doing a lot of stuff with it. Held some tournaments. Been fun.
I think you've hit God as well, right, Andrew?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And
I mean, to be fair,
we know. You don't have to.
This is what I'm gonna ask you though. That's what I'm gonna ask you.
You had 20 hours. Thank you.
So
Yeah, congrats.
Tell us your experience online and off for Fusion World and your overall opinion. Basically, what do you feel like is gonna come about the game, or is about the game? I guess.
I think the online client is a good, like I want to say, it's a good start.
Yeah.
A good start, but boy, oh boy, do they need to work on that to make it like, I don't know. I mean, it's just
what do you
like,
see out of it?
You know, the word that comes to mind that I think they need to push for, I think, is integrity, right? Integrity with the online play. And I think this is integrity in terms of play, right? So you obviously the matchmaking, and integrity in terms of, gaining cards, free to play players, stuff like that.
Sure.
And I think it's just like, I mean, I think they've been very transparent. I don't think that they're like, hiding anything, but I think that they can improve on the integrity of the client. I think that it's good for what it is. It's fun. It's simple. It's good for bringing new people into the game. It's great for just, jumping online, hosting tournaments. Like, they have a great ecosystem, shell built. Now they just have to actually like make the numbers, do the things, do the back end to like make it so that it's not so much like it feels too much like I want to take your money. like I the client, I like every time I look at it and I'm just like imagining it from a new perspective. Like, yeah, I had codes or whatever, but like it just seems like either your play experience is going to be so miserable that you're going to dish out cash, or you're just not going to play. And it doesn't reward the people who play a lot, in my opinion, both in terms of the gems and the competitive matchmaking. So really, it's just trying, like, in my opinion, it's just like there to just be like, hey, look, I want to make money off of you for playing my game online.
Sure.
I think more of
a little rough for me.
I think if you're like a pure digital client person, yeah, I can completely agree. I think it's not inviting. Free to play experience is not good, and there's not really a reward for the time that you put in, right? And I think the whole concept of the digital client after playing this so much is that it's an extension of the physical card game. Period. There is nothing else that they wanted out of the digital client. I think it is just, if you cannot play in person, we are going to provide you somewhere to play against like your friends and random people, and that's only if you already own the cards and already purchased a bunch of packs, right? Which again comes back to money.
But that's the problem, and so I don't think it's even because let's say, okay, the way the system is designed right now, if you wanted to play in paper, you could just go, I will buy this deck. I will buy a Green Broly. It costs me X amount of dollars. Sure.
Yeah.
If you go onto this client, I mean, I don't know what your guys' experience are, but if you open packs, you're not guaranteed anything.
No, not at all. And that's a huge issue.
And you can't craft anything of relevant value. So it basically just means you're either going to open an obscene amount of product to get what you want, which, yes, eventually you will. I mean, the numbers will get you there. But that just seems like I just want to take your money, because there's no profitable way or like efficient way of getting to the desired outcome for a player. It's more so just like roll the dice. Okay, finally we got there.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
I think most issues as far as that goes will be fixed with a decent crafting system, right?
Hmm.
Like
I agree.
as long as we have a way to get the cards that we want and a trade off, like if I have a bunch of cards, like even if I didn't want all the cards, if I had one deck, let's say a red U7 Goku deck, and I wanted to convert and craft everything, at least most of it, and get most of another deck, then I want to do that, right? I want to be able to go and transition to like Android 17 deck or something like that,
Hmm.
through a crafting system. But we just don't have that, and I think that's turning off a lot of players for sure. But,
Yeah, my experience is like the price per packs is not like terrible, like $1 per pack, sure, whatever, right? But it's this weird function where if you spend like $50, you might get one deck, and it's probably not the one that you wanted to play. But if you spend $100, you'd have the entire set, and you can play whatever you want, right? So it doesn't I think curve correctly, because like if you spend $100, you get enough duplicates that you can actually start crafting whatever super rares you wanted. But with five, with 50, you don't have anything. So
It's really a dice roll.
Mhm.
Like for example, I think I've opened almost 200. I still don't have a playset of every SR, nor can I craft them because I
Mm.
opened too many alt arts.
Oh yeah, that's the weird
yeah,
thing, and
I
not
don't
and
understand
the
why you
only
do that.
reason you get only ways by opening them in packs is a really weird decision too. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
Granted, I'm only missing 4 SRs, but like
Yeah,
it's just
still
like at 200
kind of
packs, still
silly.
don't have, still not there.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
in like physical form, you would probably have everything
Of
for sure.
course,
Yeah,
yeah.
like after a case, you would probably have most, if not everything. At least
And the
SRs.
Or
and
at
well
least I could
for
trade all of my leftover SRs that I opened duplicates of
Right.
for the ones that I'm missing in the
That's
first place, right?
yeah.
Yeah, or if
That's
you open a box, right, you're gonna get like 7 super rares, but they're all gonna be unique, right? In this game, it's like,
yes.
cool. I opened 5 Goku Blacks,
Yeah,
awesome,
you can't do anything with them.
and I'm like, cool,
You can
thank
use
you.
4 of them. The fifth one is a fifth
And then he
Twenty
proceeds to
20
open like
towards
another three.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, the fifth one's an alt art, so you can't actually decraft it.
I think
Uh
So
I think I have of the 3 drop Goku, the red one. I
yeah.
think I have almost a max playset of each rarity.
Oh wow.
dang.
Like I
Dang.
have the regular one, the foil one, and like the full art foil or whatever the crazy. There's
I
three.
just don't
There's 4
understand.
rarities. There's 4 rarities, and I
Yeah.
almost have a playset of all of them. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
why is there 4 rarities of this card? I can like
It's
this is
crazy.
asinine to me.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
But
because I was making a video going over my collection, and I'm like, wait, I've opened like 200 packs. I only have 3 copies of 1718. Like, you don't run 4 of it, so you're fine. But like,
right.
how do I not have a playset of this card? That is
I have
insane
the
for one set.
I have to I have disclaimer some of my deck videos because I'm like I just didn't open these. But if you did, if you do have them, play 4, please.
Yes.
So yeah, it's bad, man. My thing, and we'll talk about the physical end of it too. But my thing is that like at the end of the day, yes, it is a good start. Sure, there's a lot of issues that got to be fixed. My thing is that I will be massively disappointed that if like a year from now none of this stuff is fixed, because like
Me too. Yeah.
if it isn't, then
I'm
what's
gonna
the
hit you with
point?
6 months. 6 months is mine because I know what
Yeah,
development takes. I know a lot of people are probably thinking, oh, set 2, there's gonna be a big update. It's not gonna. My expectations are low on
no,
that, but
I don't think anything's changing in set 2. I don't think
but I
no.
think I think they should, like, I know like the gems expiring, that kind of stuff. I don't know. We're also have like rose tinted glasses because we're like, we just want anything physical, right? We've been stuck with
The digital, I mean.
or digital, yeah. We've been stuck with physical card game for so long. Like,
And this is the
we
first time, and this is just like
we are
Well,
not the targeted audience because we play it no matter what, right?
yeah.
I think there's multiple things at play here too. I think this is since it's their first foray into this, and
Mhm.
I think they're planning on doing it for like Digimon and probably One Piece in the future.
Yeah.
Because they would be fools not to. But I think that they need to be very careful, like tread very carefully here, and do a good job so as to not like have that bad taste in people's mouths coming
Mhm.
into those next ones. Because there is crosstalk in those communities, and there is going to be like some like, if we're seeing a lot of the same, it's going to be a bad track record. So I do think like I don't know what their objective was with this client.
Yeah.
Or at least the original ideas of it, because I do
Mhm.
think a lot of these things should have been there at implementation.
Mhm.
But sure, it wasn't. But if they don't fix them, I think that's a really big red flag
Mhm.
for the player base, and I think it's going to really hurt them.
It's
So,
like it's not even for the player base now. It's even for like the content creators who weren't even in card games, right? Like Rhyme
Yeah.
Style and Dota and Seriax. People who just make Dragon Ball content, or just like
Mhm.
content creators who actually have some influence. And if their videos are literally titled, because I've seen them, literally titled "This game is broken" or "This game is
Yeah.
unfair" or
Yeah.
"Green is the most broken thing ever," right?
Mhm.
It definitely just doesn't do well. I don't know, man. I do agree. I think some of this is like more of a guinea pig. Like we are kind of the guinea pigs for our online client, and
Mhm.
I just hope that they improve it before they move on to any other card games, if any. In my working theory, even in the beta, if you open up the client for it, at the top left, there's like little tabs, and I think like every tab is going to be like some other game. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
going to be card games, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
think that's my working theory.
I mean, I think it's very difficult. People said they were going to do it for Digimon. I think it's going to be very hard just because how many sets deep they are.
Mhm.
I think
Yes.
they might do One Piece. It's deep, but I think the mechanics of that game are a lot easier.
Yeah.
I think Digimon would be very, very complex.
For sure.
Even where it's at right now, right?
Yeah.
I think they have a lot of windows and like timings and things like that. And I think that's where the complexity comes in, and too many unique individual cards that do certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why we haven't seen it yet, but we'll see. Like I think that's the main reason why Fusion World exists, is because they're like invested into the Dragon Ball client, realize this is too monumental of a task
Yeah.
to try and code this crazy game,
Mm-hmm.
and then they just decided, okay, well, we'll just remake the game.
Yeah, I think most people like because Gen Con this last year, they're like, by the way, here's the online client for a Dragon Ball game that we promised.
Yeah.
And the mix of emotions in the room. I know where people are like, what is this? But I think this client probably narrowly came out. I think they said it will be out by February, and then they were lucky it was a leap year that they had that extra day to get it out. But I think it is a guinea pig. The fact that it's like 100 plus cards, if it's only 100 cards, makes it easier for them to figure it out. But generally, based on like seeing Bandit card games throughout the years, and even just looking at the first set of Fusion World, they usually learn. They're not static enough. They learn from their mistakes. They try to implement and make new changes, and that's part of the reason I've been sticking around with them for so long, because I feel like my thoughts are like the community's heard enough that they'll make changes or they'll be flexible, which is really nice to see.
I mean, when they banned Whitebeard for a month, I guess so, huh?
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, that was your fault.
Please.
That was your
Yes,
fault.
and
I trust them. I think they'll do a good job. They just need to I think sooner rather than later would be good. But,
yes,
we'll see.
How's the physical card game? Have you been to locals and stuff like that? How's that going in your area?
Yeah, I've been to locals. Been having some decent locals. I'm excited to go to the regionals, in person regionals.
Yeah.
I'll be at Quebec and I'll be at North Carolina.
Okay.
I'll be at both of those. I'll play in Fusion World. It'll be fun. I'm excited to like kind of regroup with that community because I haven't been to many of the Masters ones.
Mhm.
And it should be. I think it's great. I think people like saying things are broken. I think the balance of the game is pretty good. I think each color has its strengths and weaknesses, and I think they did a good job. I think very very rarely do I say that Bandai does a bad job in their set ones. I think most of their set ones are very very good. They're not perfect, but I think they're good. They're good launching points for the game.
Yeah,
I think they did a good job.
I can't think of one that I didn't like. Maybe BSS because of Ice Shield, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that BSS still had like a good variety.
No, I thought it was fine. I mean, I think the aggro was a little good in the set one, but even then, I think people figured out how to play against it.
I meant it like you can't play the game without Ice Shield. You know what I'm saying? Like in that.
Oh,
set.
sure.
Oh,
I just felt like sure it was at least cheap, but if it wasn't, then it would.
But you couldn't play the game without Sensu Bean. But I guess Ice Shield was more expensive.
Yeah, Bean was a common that I guess went to what $10-$20 before it got reprinted.
Yes, it did get a little out of hand, but they reprinted it like 4 times now, so it's fine. And then they errated it, so they finally came to their senses.
Yes.
One Piece. What about One Piece? So I know you're currently playing. You can kind of talk about what decks you're playing. Thoughts on
I think One Piece. Man, I hate to say it, but I think One Piece has gotten to like a point where like the RNG has gotten to like really bad.
Just say you don't like yellow, man. It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's cool. Like
it's a
everyone
safe
says
space.
it. Everyone says it. It's fine.
I don't know if that's what they wanted for the game. I can't reasonably. I can't fathom it. Like the way
Yeah.
that yellow plays is just so brain dead and so bad for the game
Yeah.
that had so much intricacy. It's a very complex game to play at a
Mm-hmm.
very high level. Like the
Yeah.
systems that they implemented in that game were very unique and very well thought out. And to see it just like not matter, like it just
Sure.
doesn't matter in certain games. Like it
Mhm.
doesn't matter how you play, it doesn't matter what your opponent does. It all matters what's in their life. I think
Yeah.
that's crazy. I think it's really bad for the game. Um,
I think some people kind
but
of had the same thoughts with Digimon when Security Control came out, right? Like it just became a place where I don't know, like at least in Digimon you can control. Well, I mean, you can control your life in this game too. I don't know. I think it
yeah,
is a
but
little
Digimon's a
different.
little different because Digimon you couldn't defend yourself
Yeah.
Yeah,
necessarily. So
yeah.
like
So
the triggers make more sense in that game
Mm-hmm.
because you couldn't like okay your one drop can deal me damage. You get
Yeah,
me?
and
Like you could just
every deck is a yellow deck in that game too, which makes a
exactly.
difference, right?
that's
Yeah.
true.
But
Like every your triggers are going to be just as devastating as mine because we
yeah.
both have them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the problem in this game is like not every deck is as like okay, sure, if every deck had yellow triggers, then yeah, sure, we're all just playing the same game. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're just like deathly afraid to attack each
Yep.
other.
Yeah.
But it's just one color that's doing that right now and
Mm-hmm.
abusing it like really badly.
Is
I don't
that
know.
what's turning you off from the game right now?
I think it's a problem. I think it's a problem. I don't think it's not going to keep players away from the game necessarily. I do think there are some players that are going to like they're going to go to locals. They're going to lose a category for the 15th time off of like back like Amaru into Beige for the
Mm-hmm.
fourth time, and they're gonna they're gonna walk out of the store and never play the game again. But I don't think it's going to kill the game. You get me? Like I don't think it's the end all
Mm-hmm.
be all. I do think they have time to correct it and fix it. But I think if they're allowing this to like happen, either they're going to approach the game in like a very casual way where it's just like hey yeah I mean anybody can win, or they're going to fix it and be like no that's not what we envisioned because I think that's right now that's the only like very big problem. I think
Yeah.
the last set was fine, like an L wasn't as big of a deal, like sure it was yellow, who cares, but this deck is like really really toxic and it's
Yeah.
like plaguing our locals.
And so what are your thoughts maybe on the other side? Because I think we were really gifted that Dragon Ball Masters was an English card game almost exclusively, or well pretty much exclusive, right? Until Fusion War. There were some like I know like some other languages got it, but it wasn't a Japanese game, right? Because they didn't play it out there, and we
Yeah.
got the beginning of the meta. My biggest complaint with One Piece right now is that we get these cards out, and like 2 days later, I know what all the decks look like. Right? There's not as much knowing what the meta or like there's not as much space to explore because it's kind of been explored already. But I don't know if that's a problem for you or if you are more of a deck builder or you just like playing on more of
No,
that
I
side.
mean I love deck building. I do. I'm with you. It takes a lot of the fun out of the game for me, as well. Just being told what to play, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
unfortunately, as much as you try to like be creative, you can't really like min max much of anything. Like I came up with like a decent like Sakazuki build that was different for like the
Sure.
last set that I thought was cool. I don't think it performed necessarily that much better into like it's not so much different. Like it's just like yeah, it's like a tech choice here and there. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we're pretty much playing the same shit, and it's
Mhm.
like it feels kind of boring. I would like for player ingenuity and creativity to shine, and I
Yeah.
think Japan gets to do that because when you look at the Japan format from day one to like
Mhm.
1 month or 2 months in, you're like, wow, you can see the leapfrogs that they've made
Yeah.
in their
Yeah.
deck building
One.
and how they figured things out. And I'm sure they
Mhm.
had so much fun doing that. But,
Yeah, because like
you know,
Sakazuki when it came out in OPO5 was doing very bad at the beginning,
yeah.
and then someone's like, "You should add Hina," and then they're like, "Oh shoot! All right, this is fantastic. This is
Rebecca's good,
very
huh?
very good
That's
now."
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I remember the original deck was like 9 drop, Mihawks and all these
Mhm.
crazy stuff, and I
Yeah.
tried it and it was like, this is not that good.
Yeah.
And then like a few weeks later, I'm like, oh, this build that just like plays super low to the ground, abuses this
Mhm.
Helmblaze card is nuts.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's like, oh, okay. Like I think that's interesting. I think that's really cool. I think that's really fun. And being depraved of that, doesn't feel that good.
Yeah.
But
I do
And
agree.
that's why Fusion World's been feeling good because I get that again. And I've cycled through on what leaders I think are good or bad. Still, like in the last couple weeks, like who's the best yellow deck? Is it Frieza still? Is Cooler have a chance? Is Broly the best deck in the format, or is it Gohan, or is it neither of them? It's been really fun to see the ebbs and flows.
Yeah, we're part of the process right now.
Yeah.
Like, it feels great to be part of the process. Like, you hop on the client, you play games, and you come to your conclusions based off of that. You go to your locals and you go like that, and then the big events will happen, and we'll see like who had the better thought process, who came up with the thing. But having it handed to you on a silver platter, I think is very lazy. Feels very lazy, and you're just kind of like, okay, I guess I'm playing this.
It sucks as a content creator, especially myself. Not only that, like, everything is figured out, so as soon as someone says,
"Here's my unique subpar Nell list,"
and they don't care, no one cares. I have like 3 different decks that I already know that are not going to perform as far as viewership goes this week, and I do not care because I had so much fun doing it. So like the first one is the Gecko Moria hand destruction one. The second one is a Nell with all triggers, which is hilarious, dude. I had 3 people quit on the client. That's gonna be a sick video. And then I had what was the third one? I had another one, but it's just stuff like that. I'm like, dude, I have so much fun with these decks, but like at the end of the day, like no one cares. They want to they want to win a Luffy. They want to win a serial card. They want to win like first place. So in order to do that, you have to, play the best builds. You have to play the best decks, and it sucks because like we here as content creators also have to skip until the next set most of the time. So like after I'm done with this week, I'm most likely moving on to OPL 7 next week. So it's just a like One Piece has so many issues that
it's just tough because you can't play the game. Like as soon as you show up to locals on the first set, it's already just like straight meta of the next set.
100%.
You're just like going to school. Nobody knows how to play their decks yet, but they know what the decks are, and they're just like, yeah, we're playing the meta, or some do because they play on the client, or whatever. But it's like, okay,
you might be a little exclusive on that because you're in Florida, which does have like a bunch of serial cards. I have the same issue in my area because like Jonas is here, Michael's here. There's just like I'll go like, oh, there's like collectively 20 serial card winners in this 21 card locals. So but I do agree like that it gets very grindy very quickly for One Piece compared to other games I've played.
It's getting more and more sweaty as the sets go, by the way.
Yes.
Like so much more sweaty. It's actually crazy. At first when One Piece came out, and this is no shot to any One Piece player, it was just more of like people are more serious about it because they know what's at stake. And it's interesting. It's interesting. I hope it doesn't get worse. Like you said, Andrew, just as far as like the game itself goes, because we've commentated the last couple weeks, and 2 of those events got Katakuri as first place, and chat doesn't really
the same player too.
The same player, and the finals is Katakuri mirror, and then we gotta
No, the deck is really bad for the game. Like I haven't said that. I don't think anything like.
Exclusive. Get that, Brian. Put it an exclusive Duvall statement.
That deck is cancer, man. Like, I mean, no fault to anybody playing it, but like our locals meta has been Katakuris and Namis. That's how bad it's gotten.
Namis,
like,
that's funny.
Yeah, because
Brian's like get down there.
You want to play Katakuri. You want to play Katakuri? You're not gonna see a trigger. GG.
Yes, that is funny.
And I'll beat that deck.
Funny, yeah.
So it's like, they don't like losing to the Katakuri. They pick up Nami, and they're just like, yeah, bro.
Thank you
for
the video title, by the way.
Thank you for signing up. Thank you for signing up.
No. Thank you for the video title. I'm gonna name it OPO6 Nami, the Katakuri Killer. Thank you. I'm gonna.
It really is a good matchup, at least. I will say that much.
Gotcha.
You just sit there and you just AFK. I mean, the deck is only triggers.
I'm down for that.
They're gonna attack you.
Super.
You hit them once with Zeph, maybe you kill them.
Yeah, they lose.
But like it's it's gotten degenerate. It's just a degenerate deck
for sure. Well,
but,
now that we know that the most degenerate deck is Katakuri, what is the best deck in Fusion World to you? Like right now, if you're gonna be, you don't have to say this. You don't have to say.
Yeah, you have the only you're in the only set one tournament.
No, I feel very confident saying this. I don't think there's the best deck.
Okay, that's probably the best question you can give, or answer you can give for sure.
There isn't a best deck, and I think that there's some that are definitely better than others, but I don't think that there's a clear best deck. I think you have Frieza, you have Broly, you could play either of the red. Technically, any of the red leaders are fine, and I think even Blue has its place. I think Blue Trunks and Blue Vegeta are very good. Like Blue Vegeta is probably insanely high win rate against green, but struggles against
People don't believe
yellow.
that when I tell them that. It's crazy.
Nah, if you know how to play Dragon Ball well, like you should not lose with Vegeta against green. It's entirely too fast and too powerful against that deck. Like by the time if they slam an 8-drop, they're dead.
Yeah.
I think Jonathan put up a video about it.
Yeah, Rogue,
Plug,
yeah.
Plug.
Hey, no,
but I think,
it's fine.
yeah, like it's pretty simple to do. But it loses hard to Frieza, right? So I think there's a good eco balance, a good ecosystem here. I think red is probably the color that has the least. Blues, it's probably its worst matchup. I think red has the least it's the most 50-50 deck, right? But never like super favored against anything. And I think Frieza has its like very, very good matchups. Red is like and then it has pretty middle of the ground. And I think the same thing with Broly. Like Broly is really good against the Friezas, not so great against the reds and the blues sometimes, but it's pretty good. And I think Gohan and even Android 17 have this place. They're very similar decks in terms of what they do. I think they both have their strengths. I think the only thing that I will say, if you think the crit leaders are good, you're probably coping. That's the only one that I could. I think the crit leaders, after playing the game enough, it was my first thing that I thought with this game. But as I played more and more, I just see like if you go first with the crit leaders, you're not going to win.
Yeah, you have to go
more than like 20% of your games against good players. It's very difficult to win going first. I think Beers has the best shot because it has a turn 1 awakener. But I think the rest of them are, I don't know. It's very difficult winning going first. They're fine decks going second, but going first, it's very difficult. Maybe
I'm not trying to be contrary. I love playing Cooler and I love playing it first, and that could be wrong, but I've had a lot of success with it. But again, on ladder without real stress, right?
You better take that Cooler then.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh gee. Well, it's set 2, all right. I can't. This is set 1. I can't speak for any other meta, right?
Okay,
you gotta. But I think that in general, this game is starting conversations where it's really opinionated, which is very frustrating for me that I can't get more data to at least like have something to be like, oh, here are matchup charts, or here's what I've noticed.
Hey man, that's why we do our own tournaments.
I'm trying. I am trying very hard, but I like that. I like being able to have some opinions on, oh, this deck is good. It opens the door for people being like, oh, actually this is the 100% correct play all the time, and you don't know if this random commenter is the right or not, but it's the mystique for it. And a lot of people I think thought green was the best color moving in. It's very strong, but it's the more I've played this meta, the more I've liked it, and it's been very, very fun.
For sure.
Yeah, I think they did a great job with it. I don't think there's a clear best deck. I mean, everybody's gonna have their opinions, but I think I can't, without a shadow of a doubt, I cannot tell you like I have no clue what's gonna win the regionals. I think there's a very good chance that almost anything could win.
I think Brian and I have 4 locals or like weekly tournaments. I think there's been a different winner every time.
Like it was like 40, 50, almost more. Yeah, it was my last tournament with almost 50 had started at Goku win.
Yeah, started at Goku win that one. Yeah,
awesome because it's a cool deck, it's a sick deck. I do agree. It's pretty crazy. We are past our hour mark. So as our closing thoughts, did you want to give any advice for anyone who wants to get better at any kind of card game? I think I told you. I think I've asked you this question before, way back when, but I guess you can put it here too.
Well, I think the best thing is just practice. I think that's number 1. And number 2 is like identifying kind of like when people say they want to get better, sometimes they don't attribute or attach that to anything tangible. So if you don't attach it to something tangible, then you can't gauge if you got better or not, right? It's kind of just a perspective thing.
Like a top 16, top 4.
Yeah, top 16.
Yeah, exactly. Like set a goal for yourself, right? If you're really about it.
I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, like if you're really about it, really serious, like goals for yourself and try to improve and hit those marks, You have to put yourself out there. You have to go to your locals, even if it's just go to locals and get first. But, go to locals, whatever, get 4th, whatever, the top 4 or whatever. And then transition that into regionals and stuff like that. I think you have to set the goals and then you have to just practice. You have to practice. That's pretty much all there is to it.
Okay. Sounds good. Anything else before we get out of here?
We covered it all, really.
We kind of did, and I did it with Doa last time. I usually go through people's like Instagrams or socials and stuff like that and ask questions. I just didn't do it for you. I don't think you have very many socials anyway.
No,
so.
I don't do social media.
Yeah. So I didn't
I'm a
really bother.
hermit.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine. But yeah. Thank you for joining us, and as well as just talking some shop with us. I don't think there's anything else. So Hayden, anything else?
No, this was really fun. The hour went by for us. Hopefully it did for you guys as well. And looking forward to the next one as well.
Which, by the way, we should be on Spotify if I did this correctly and set it up correctly. So if you're listening on Spotify, audio
Like
listeners,
a 20% chance is what you're saying.
yeah, audio listeners, love you to death. We didn't show anything on the screen. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.